Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Global Money News Review. My name is Ola. I'm the founder of the Money with Club and your host on this weekly sessions. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel because we actually talk about personal finance, investing, and the economy in simple English in a way that you would understand and make investment decisions or financial decisions that will move you forward. So stick around if you haven't already. So today, every week, really, we talk about global news. We highlight some global news that could affect your pocket, or could be interesting, or could be food for thought, or could make you learn something that would help you later, right? And so, starting with global news this week. Of course, like there's the general stuff. We know that the stock markets in the US are in the red majorly right now. It's all bloody red right now, and it's a lot to do with politics, right? It's a lot to do with the policies that are coming out of the White House currently. Um, Rather, people are responding to it, right? To the policies coming out of the White House, the tariff wars, um, the sacking. There's so much news, right? So before we even go into like the general, each news, right, that we're going to discuss today, is just to highlight the impact of who is running the shop, as in the political leader, on the economy, on businesses. Now, that's one. Always know that it's an environment such that if you think from a farming perspective, when you are planting, right, the environment, if there's climate change, if there's a drought, it would affect everybody. That's literally what's happening, right? That's one. Then the second thing to highlight is that the fact that the stock market is in red doesn't mean that the company has an issue, right? And that is what is important. The stock market is secondary markets. What do I mean by secondary market? Stock market is the market that after the company, so when the company comes and says, I want to raise $1 trillion, right? They will come to the market and they will raise their 1 trillion and they will go back to do their business. But what happens is that the secondary market is where I bought their stock at the initial public offer, but I don't want to hold it forever. I want to sell. So I'm selling to someone. So it's like a third party market, such that whatever is happening in the stock market, even though it might look like all is topsy turvy, still focus on the actual company. Is the company still in business? Is it still doing what it's supposed to do? Then just take it as noise. Why eventually, after a 4 year cycle, a new government will come. There's no under the sun, right? So if you pass of the general market that is not, and what's happening in general market is not going to impact that particular company, what you just find is that you're just jumping in and out of the market. Yeah. So that's something that is important to highlight as we go along. So on the back of that, global news, the Trump family is in talks to get a stake in Binance. Now, this is quite interesting, right? It's part of the whole topsy-turvy experience in the United States market as a whole. So yes, the Trump family, number one family of the world right now, they are considering a stake in Binance. Now, why would Binance want this deal? Binance has gone through so many struggles. Binance US, to be specific, Binance has gone through so many struggles in the United States. Their CEO is trying to push through a plea bargain, right? Not to go to jail. There's so much happening. Why? Because they were accused of allowing illegal things to go through to process through their platform, right? Not doing enough due diligence or KYC and all that. That's know your customer, the process, right? So what's going to happen here now? If this deal actually goes through, it will be good for Binance on one side because based on the coming out of America, there might be political support that would subconsciously come just because of the new one and who they are. But on the other hand, the regulators can actually kick back and say, you are doing this deal so that scrutinize you, but we are still going to scrutinize you and scrutinize you harder. We don't know. However, for the crypto market as a whole, it will really look like an endorsement because if the number one family of the world right now is buying a major stake in a crypto exchange, then it just solidifies that, oh, crypto is here to stay type thing. So in the short end, you might see that bullish one. But on the other hand, in the end, we'll still have to go through the motions of regulating, standardizing. Is still a battle with cryptocurrencies. However, let's look out for this. It's quite interesting how this would on a normal day be seen as an ethical concern at this time for the family, but it just appears not to matter that much to them. Yeah. Then off to Nigerian news. Oh, if you don't already, these sessions are powered by the Money with Club. Check us out, w.themoneywithclub.com. Let me see if I can pop that up somewhere. Yeah, and we're actually having today. So follow us on socials, Instagram, at the Money with Club, and you will see all the fun stuff. We're going on a property tour, and then we are now going to a resort. I mean, resort on the outskirts of Lagos. Then African news. So African news is a little sad of the war in Sudan. British American Tobacco has had to shut down their plant. Now, logically, for safety, for security of their staff, blah, 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 and just because it's just not safe, right? But then who is now suffering from it? Kenya. Kenya is a major exporter of raw tobacco to that particular plant because it's somewhat in the region, if you get. So in terms of transport time and all that, it's efficient for Kenya to supply them. So here, why am I highlighting it? It's for people to access works to actually see the back end of business. Number one, for British American Tobacco to shut down that plant, it's a financial decision, not just a social, it's a financial decision. And they are forced to do so because of political instability and insecurity, social unrest. So you see, when we say that social unrest and um, or peace is a foundation for trade, this is like highlighting it. Then now that's British American Tobacco's company, right? It's their company, it's their business, private. However, flip back to Kenya and the fact that this is one of their major exports. This is a major source of revenue for them, right? And they are going to have to lose that because there is insecurity in the region. So you see where we say politics, economy, business, it's intertwined. Don't ever disregard it. That's the most important. Don't ever disregard it. But for Sudan, we hope that they are able to sort out their issues quickly, because the fact is, British American Tobacco is going to move that production capacity somewhere else. That's what's going to happen. It's just business. They're going to say, okay, maybe we're producing 1,000 tons here. How can we redirect 200 to one place, 200 to another place, and build up that capacity? Why? Because they still want to deliver to their customers. Do you get? So as a country, Sudan needs to get it together. They need to sort themselves out because they will be the ones to lose out in the end. And then Kenya will subsequently find other trading partners. It will take a while. There'll be that gap, but they will find other trading partners and everybody will pick up. So Sudan, sort yourself out. Um, and then finally, out of Nigeria, this one was in the news and there was some clarification around it. The Nigeria cancels the crude for oil deal. Now, what was it? Crude for Naira. So before now, if you were going to refine crude oil in Nigeria, you would import the crude oil, buy dollars to import the crude oil, and then refine and then sell, right? But then there was an agreement like 6 months ago with NMPC and the local refineries. Apart from Dangote, there are two other local refineries actually. There's Boa and there's another one I can't remember the name, but not as big as Dangote, right? And they had agreed that they would sell them crude oil for Naira. But NMPC is saying that that contract is over and that they've sold their supply forward. And so these guys need to go and source externally. Now, what is going to be the impact? The impact is going to be on FX, and that's the truth. And so the government needs to actually decide on what they want to do. The impact is going to be on FX. Why? Because there's going to be demand for FX, and central bank must provide that demand for them to import the oil, for them to process and then sell in Naira here and sell locally. So that's in its so that stability, this stability that we're seeing has something to do with the slowdown in demand. Because if, for example, the Dangote refinery is producing oil fuel locally, then marketers don't need to import fuel to sell locally. Why? Because there's Naira supply. There's supply in Naira. They can use the Naira they sold at the pump or they raised at the pump to actually pay for the products. right? But the moment FX comes into the conversation, right, pressure starts again. And this, I think, is what we are seeing right now. And so I think the government needs to sit down and decide what we are doing. NMPC as a whole needs to decide on their long term strategy in line with the Nigerian financial stability plan, right? Because this one, it just feels like they're going back to square one again. But we wait to see how these things will pan out because sometimes there's some political issues here and there that need to be resolved and all that. And you might find that they will come back, right? Um, and then one that was quite interesting, final news, is that Lagos State becomes Africa's second largest city with its economy, because the economy is valued currently at 259 billion. Now, if you live in Lagos, you know that Lagos is a massive party on the road. Sliding dirty December. But I mean, it's actually good news. Whilst everybody is doing their own thing in silos, it's important to also measure the collective, because that's when we actually realize how big what we are doing is as a collective. Now, our job is to harness and to stop, and our job is to harness, like guide it so that it becomes more valuable. That's one. And then for the government to actually support with infrastructure to manage or guide or to support what is happening and the economy, the roads, blah blah blah. But big ups to Lagos State. What it does say is that there's opportunity. If you're outside of Nigeria, there's value in Lagos. Things are, as much as we always want it to be better, but things are actually stabilizing and improving. Yeah. On this note, I just want to say thank you. Have a beautiful week ahead. I am going to have fun, and follow us on social media. Let me pop it up for you to see. Follow us on social media on all our handles. You'll be seeing updates on our activities for today. Bye bye.